out in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You burying me, burying me. Yeah, you burying me, burying me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Can I get you out of my hand again? Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow. I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized.
To be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks a beat at time, I cross the ledge just to tell you, don't lead the way, don't leave a say. Then I drown with a cosplay in the rain. I feel like I'm fading. Come on, give it all you got. You're trying to save me, but you're making it all worse. Every time you hear these words, I'll be down the road, cause I know the odds are better on my side. Why don't you try to be wise? Maybe I'm calling you cry. I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks a beat at time, I press the ledge just to tell you, don't lead the way, don't leave a say. Then I drown with a cosplay in the rain. I am in misery.
Everyone is watching me when I'm coming around. They all are judging me when I'm lying on the ground. I've got no shelter, I've got no escape. My life is a prison and I can't run away. I feel it in my bones, I'm losing it all. Stuck in my head, I am in misery. Deep inside myself, all I get, my only family. Stuck in the grave, can someone rescue me? I'm burning alive, I got it, I am in misery.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Taking Over. I am, of course, OLED Ed Fries, back after a week's vacation, if you can call it a vacation.
Yes, we're gonna call it a vacation.
Sure, it was not the most pleasant vacation that I've had in a while, but you know, it is what it is. But I'm back. Thank you to my tag team partner, as always, every Tuesday night, The Natural, Ash Mazzaro, for holding down the ship last week as I was recovering. I was in a world of my own. Let's just say that. I
Yeah,
was
we sent you a lot of hearts and well wishes.
heavily medicated, had a lot of fun, had a lot of sleep on last Tuesday night. But I did catch up on the show last week. Thought it was pretty good. There's a lot of good stuff. It wasn't necessarily a whirlwind of pain. I've been relatively pain-free. I've been more sore than anything. With the grace of modern medication and modern, surgery, it's all little itty bitty like robot arm scars. So thankfully, it's not going to be so bad. And I'm already showing signs of improvement, so that is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she did indeed. She always does.
No, I don't.
No. The answer to that is no. I wouldn't have wanted to
Hell no.
before. I definitely don't want to right now. I've been told no running. I've been told I can walk, but that's about it. Well, thank you very much, Lewis. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. She is a delight, so I'm glad that she's brought you into our chat. So that's always good. Of course, we have the Ogre Lord Bobby in here saying, STG patience, you can't rush art. To which our local establishment said, whose art? He isn't on the show tonight. So, but yeah, we're here, and wow, they didn't waste any time making a statement tonight on the show, did they?
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie Vaquer relinquishes after 3 weeks. Relinquishes the Women's North American Championship, which seems like it should have just happened. Like, I agree with STG. I kind of hate this, but I don't hate it in terms of her doing it. I hate it in the way that they've done it.
Mm-hmm.
If this was going to be the plan, it should have been done the next Tuesday, where she goes, look, I'm vacating this, I'm taking this. And it just should have been done. That's my interpretation. However, I will say that I did call that if she won that match, what they would do is she would defend the title at least once, and then they'd take it off of her, and she wouldn't have to defend it and Stand and Deliver.
Yep.
And then it would be in, as they always do with the women, if you don't know what to do and it's Stand and Deliver, throw a ladder in the ring and put a championship on a pole.
It's always either a battle royal or multi-woman match. It's like when we don't know what to do, those are the two options.
If we need a number one contender and we don't know what to do, battle royal. If we need a champion, ladder match.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Especially a Stand and Deliver. and we'll figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
Mike the ref said exactly. They should have never had her defend the title. Exactly. There's nothing more true than this statement.
Mm-hmm.
It makes her look worse defending the championship, because yes, it protects her in terms of she didn't lose the championship.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many ways they could have done this. They could have screwed her last week with Fatal Influence, which honestly would have been the smartest idea. If you're going to go this route,
her.
But yeah, because you protect her because she gets screwed 3-on-1. So there's just so many reasons why this is the wrong idea to do.
Plus, not only that, you have the factor that being that it was the second match, she's already beat up from the first match. That's one thing. And second, you have the numbers game. That's the second thing. And we had Jordan getting involved either way, so that would have been a third reason there. So just like, you have three ways there that you don't still make her look good without making her look as she did tonight. And the fact that I hate about this too is just, you can tell they're just scrambling to find a plan for it, because we're now at this point 18 days away from the show and they have nothing else to do. And it's like, we're just going to throw qualifiers in there. Hey, why did you get a qualifier? It's like, you definitely didn't have a plan for this. And you can tell when, like you said, when you do that multi-woman ladder match, like the way that Indy won one of the last ones, it's just like, it's okay. We'll get the participants now. And then once we have everybody, we'll figure out what route to take. And this also makes me think of, for example, tonight with Roxanne and Kelani. We had Roxanne that has been hot on TV for weeks. And then all of a sudden after the chamber, we don't barely see her. We don't even see her on Raw. We don't see her in NXT. Nothing with Bailey. And all of a sudden, she's in one of the qualifiers.
And she apparently wants to be a Triple Crown NXT champion. And I'm like, wait, what? You want the demoted title?
It makes no sense.
The only good thing about this entire segment, there were two good things. One, what STG said, Jordan Grace launched that jobber all the way to the fucking moon. To the point where even Jada's like, wow, that's impressive. Like, there's a split second where Jada breaks character and just like, and then gets back the mean face and is like, grrr. And it's just like, oh, that was great. The second thing is, and this is something that you noted on social media, Stephanie looks fantastic in this promo. She cut a great promo here. Like I said, her knees were cut out from her because of what Ava said and the way they did this. But it's not Stephanie's fault. Like, we can't blame Stephanie for this bad booking. It's just she did what she needed to do, and she did well. So I was very happy with what Stephanie did here. But unfortunately, too little, too late to save her in terms of this championship reign. Which, by the way, is just baffling altogether now. Because you've cut the legs out of Fallon Henley by having her lose. Then she goes, Stephanie goes on this short title reign just to relinquish the title. It's almost as bad as the Keith Lee one, except with Keith Lee, they made the right decision from the get-go and just had him relinquish the title the next week.
That it's just the part of it, and not only that, but I feel like it makes Fallon it look even worse when she's the second match. From the get-go the week before, she's like, I want the second match because it gives me an advantage of, like, this is the second match that she has for the night. I have my girls that can help me out. So Fallon's the one that looks like an idiot at the end when she loses that match basically clean.
Yeah. To be honest, I wouldn't even put Fallon in the ladder match at this point. I wouldn't. You've done enough damage. It should be, shockingly, it should be JC Jane.
I knew you were gonna say that.
If it's gonna be a member of Fatal Influence in that ladder match, it should be JC Jane. It shouldn't be Fallon. She's already damaged goods.
Plus, it's also interesting.
Oh, sorry.
Think of the qualifiers. They did. I don't know if I noticed it. Maybe I missed it. They didn't show like a graphic with the qualifiers or anything like that. They're just like
because they're making it up as they go along.
Yeah, I was about to say that's when you can tell this is also very last minute when they don't even have a graphic with like the bracket for the qualifiers or anything, or it's like, hey, these are the people that are gonna get qualifiers, and they give us all the matches that are gonna happen from here until then. Nothing like that, because they're doing it little by little. This is when you can tell they're scrambling for the plan because they're not telling us anything.
So you can expect we're going to see Fallon in a qualifier. We're going to see Lola in a qualifier. Cora's in a qualifier. JC's probably in a qualifier. But that's heel. I say that's heel heavy. Lola's technically a babyface. So you're going to need some baby faces. The problem is, other than what's her name, Swing Lady. I can't think of her first name right now. Sword Lady.
Oh,
What's her name? There we go. That one.
I
wanted to call her Katana.
Like, what's a swing?
Swing. That little stupid sound that comes when she comes out. Yeah. I mean, she's gonna probably be in this, but like, I don't even know if Kelani's a babyface.
Yuck.
Oh, Cora's been starting some shit today. Cora's had a fun day on social media today.
No comment.
I can't repeat the lyrics, the things that she put out. I don't know if that's lyrics to the song or if that's just something she wrote, but that was interesting. If you don't know, go check her social media. After this, we get Trick and Oba going back and forth. Trick on a Twitter promo from earlier in the day. Oba coming to the arena. Oba says that, Trick, this is you're going to find out why you don't call out Oba Femi the ruler. We'll get to more of that later. Fallon, Lola, and Cora all mouth off as everyone tries to get in line for the ladder match backstage. This was a jumble fuck of a promo. Like they all just start yapping and making their case, and I'm just like, I don't want to hear any of this. It just sounded like fucking yappy dogs. Just like I don't know if it was last week or it was last week. It was the one where Stephanie won both of her matches, and then they had that thing at the end where all the girls are yelling and screaming, and Ava's just like, I'll figure it out. And you can barely hear her over everybody yapping.
Yeah, that happened from the beginning of the show too. Like people are trying to say their case to her little by little. Yeah.
But it's like last week and even here, I think it just sounded like yappy dogs. And like I don't like saying that about the women's division because most of these people can cut a good promo. It's just like all of it sounded like fucking noise tonight on that respect.
To me, at least the way I am, and I don't because me the way with my anxiety, but when there's a lot of people talking, I can't hear anybody. That's how it feels to me because I can't like if you were talking and somebody's at the same time, I could hear you, but I'm not gonna understand either one of you because you're talking over each other. I can't concentrate on either voice to tell you what you said. So it's like either way to me that sounds like a circus.
We got Logan popping in saying, let's see, what is it? I don't think if Shawn Michaels didn't want Stephanie to lose yet, and Shawn Michaels wants Julia. Julia's not the opponent, so we don't really have to worry about Julia right now. And yeah, I mean, it's obviously that they didn't want her to lose, but at the same time, like, there were many other ways to do this besides that. SCG says a serious question. I'm not a fan of Ava as a GM. Who would you choose as her replacement? I'm kind of fine with Ava. Like, I mean, she's not a great general manager, but she does well when she's doing the general manager thing. The problem is they put her in these segments with these people that are better promos than her, and it makes her kind of feel like an afterthought. And the best GMs were always people who could cut a promo. Like if you go back through it, Ric Flair is a GM on Raw when he was running Raw. Vince McMahon, Shawn Michaels, Booker T. Yes, Booker T as a promo is fantastic. Booker T as a commentator is hot garbage. Teddy Long, while he wasn't, obviously a wrestler at all, Teddy Long can cut a promo with the best of them. I mean, half the words are going to be playa, and tag team match and Undertaker, but you get the gist of what he's doing, and he never felt like an afterthought in any of those promos. He always kind of held his own against whoever he was with.
So
Ava kind of shrinks into the background.
How about the female ones? Since we're talking about Ava, which were the female ones?
I thought Stephanie McMahon was one of the best GMs we've ever had. I thought she was sensational when she was a GM. Vicky Guerrero, that woman magnifies heat to no end. I mean, for the brief time that it was AJ Lee, it's not bad. It's not that it's a woman thing. It's a thing that Ava just shrinks into the background.
No. I'm just
with anybody else.
Since we're talking about Ava, I wanted to hear some female names too, since you mentioned a lot of the guys already.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's drilled in my head. Like the Stephanie McMahon era of SmackDown is an iffy time period. There's a lot of bad things that happened to Stephanie during that time period of her being a GM. Like, I try to forget that as much as possible because she was forced to kiss Eric Bischoff wearing a mask of her father, with her father in the room directing how to do the kiss. John Cena was told to slap her ass in the middle of the ring because her dad thought it would be funny. Like, a lot of shitty things happened to Stephanie McMahon during that time period. However, she held her own as a GM. And Vicky Guerrero's time on Raw is considered one of the better periods of Raw, even if the wrestling on it wasn't that great, because she was fantastic. Oh, and like I said, it's just because she's not. I think she's a bit timid, and again, it comes from being the pebble. When she's the pebble because she's the small rock. That it just you measure her to such a standard, and she's just not quite there. But I think she does a good job of portraying an authoritative figure on TV. I believe her as the person who's making the matches on television, and they're kind of grooming Stevie for the same thing. Stevie Turner, she's running Evolve right now, so they're kind of getting Stevie Turner ready for this. So I mean, I think she's doing her thing.
I think the only thing with Stevie that makes me think of, like, I'm not saying she can't be that role because she can, but it also makes me wonder why they gave her that role, because usually when they give roles and stuff like that to people that are not able to wrestle anymore, for example, or like have like some sort of injury and they need a break for the moment, so it's like, we'll give you this for now until you can recover. And she was teaming up with Blair a little bit off screen, like on live events before she was given this role. So I was like, so I wonder what happened there more than any, because I liked her in NXT UK, so I wanted to see more from her. And then
Mhm.
when she came, I was like, oh great, we're gonna see her. And then we barely saw her, and then all of a sudden she's in the like GM sort of role, and then nothing else.
She had that streamer gimmick that we both thought was great. We loved. I
Yeah,
don't know.
and then
It is what.
poof, gone.
Speaking of things that went poof, Zaria defeated Lash Legend and made Lash Legend go poof. I'm going to say one thing, and then I'm going to let Astrid go ahead and talk about this because I think she's going to have a much better time with this. Zaria has a hard time working with bigger competitors.
Mm-hmm.
Zaria looks amazing working with smaller bodies. And Jordan Grace, with the exception. The Jordan Grace match that she worked was fantastic. I don't know if it's just her and Lash have no chemistry. Every time her and Lash get in this ring, there's just something wrong with what should be a great match. Because Lash is vastly improved from where she was. And Zaria has had fantastic matches. But you put her in the ring with Lash Legend, and all of a sudden, it just feels good, but a bit of a clusterfuck to get there.
And I like how you were going to say something. I did that. I was going to say something positive, but I felt the same way. I think the moment I especially like really, I don't want to say notice it, but like the moment that was really highlighted for me for this part was when she did her F5 move to Lash. It didn't look right. It didn't look the way she usually does it, and that's when I went. It's because she's a lot bigger than her, isn't it? And it's like it's a lot like she's a lot taller than her, and it just didn't work out in that way. And it just made me think of, okay, she can't work with people that are about her same size or maybe a little bit above her, like height wise. And I was like, this is interesting because I wasn't expecting that from Zaria, but like just the finisher, like that part is the one that highlighted for me, give me the exclamation point of like, yeah, she did that definitely didn't work out. I'm not saying they had like a particular like a bad match or anything like that. I feel like it was fun, but you can tell it was a little bit more challenging in that aspect for Zaria. Like I like how they were able to show off each other's power. Like they were able to give that from each of them. But at the same time, I feel like you can see Zaria kind of struggled in that sense of it because Lash, it's about her height, maybe a little bit taller. And I feel like this match definitely showed that aspect of it for me as well. And I didn't realize it until tonight watching this match. And I was like, that's the only thing that made me like, I guess she has to deal with people like about a little bit smaller than her for them to work out. But that's the only thing that it really like got highlighted for me tonight.
It just feels weird because they build her as this power. You know who it reminds me? It reminds me of Raquel. It reminds me of Raquel, who has a hard time working with bigger bodies. I mean, granted, Raquel right now has a hard time working with anybody, but she really struggles with the bigger competitors. Thankfully, it won't really matter, like in the long run, because Lash is one of the few people. Lash, Bianca, Rhea, Charlotte are really your only ones that you're going to have an issue with.
Yep.
But it's still something to make note of that Zaria, as good as she is, and as like I said, I thought this match was really good. I enjoyed this match, but the bigger the opponent, the harder a time Zaria has doing the Zaria stuff, and that's a bit of a red flag.
I was gonna highlight that. I was gonna say the ironic part. I was gonna say for me, I feel like the major difference between Zaria and Raquel is that at least Zaria has a personality. You know?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
I don't want to say it feels weird because I don't want to be seen like I'm bashing another lady, but just because she's a female wrestler doesn't mean I'm gonna like her automatically. And I can tell you that much that Raquel has been one of those people that I haven't connected with in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, she's one of those people like I feel like she could be kind of like a Rhea Ripley in that sort of sense because she could give out a personality, but she doesn't have one. And it's like you might be a great wrestler, but if you don't show personality, then you're gonna be lacking a little bit as well in your characters. And I feel like that's kind of how I feel also with Zoe Stark, for example. I like Zoe as a wrestler. Don't get me wrong. Her finisher move, Chef's Kiss, beautiful. I love it. But she shows more personality on social media than she does on screen.
I was just about to say it. I'm like, if we could get the Zoe Stark on social media.
Yeah. If you can see a little bit, even just an ounce of that Zoe on screen, she would be great. Because even now with the censorship thing she's doing on Twitter, like, that's funny. but you don't see that on screen. And even the videos, like the TikToks that she does with like Maxine and Shayna, a lot of that stuff backstage. If you look at her socials, especially Twitter, she's great. Like her persona, you can see it shiny, but you just don't see it on screen, and it doesn't translate. And I feel like that fails her in the end because people can't connect with her because they don't know her. And I feel with Raquel is kind of similar. She has no personality, so a lot of people can't connect with her.
I'm very interested to see what the Van Vliet interview with Raquel is. I saw a couple of clips floating around on social media today, so that's something. I think the whole episode's out. I saw a couple of clips today on social media, but I didn't have a chance to watch it. But so it's something I'm going to give a chance.
Yeah, I'll give her props for the way she goes about herself and speaking out about her treatment and everything she went through, like stuff like that. It's not
with
easy
her
to
skin
deal with,
condition.
when you're on camera. Yeah, it is out already. It says 13 hours ago.
Okay.
But like thinking of like everything she has to go through, like imagine her when she went to the chamber and she didn't have makeup on, being brave enough to show on camera like that. It takes a lot of guts. So I give her like props for that. But as a wrestler and as a character, not my thing.
We move on to Briggs and Imamura backstage Imamura talking about how he wants to be a stand and deliver. And then we have Wes Lee and the Temu Street Profits walk in and they start running their mouths. Tell me these two jabronis didn't fucking look like Montez Ford and Dawkins on fucking Temu.
No comment.
With the facial hair and the black clothes, they looked just like the Temu Street Profits. They had the chain and everything. All I could see was fucking Temu Street Profits on this segment. Bubba Smokes, hello, thank you. I appreciate it. I am back. It is indeed nice to be back. I thought we were getting Imamura versus Wes Lee tonight that we didn't get, unless I missed it.
Right? I thought like, so too. It always sounded like it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna go talk to Ava and get this done. I'm like, okay, so cool. We're gonna get this match tonight. That'll be nice. Imamura in singles competition, Wes Lee, and like I liked Wes Lee, and he was like, look, you gotta like deal with the stand and deliver winner. And then Imamura's like, look, you used to battle with honor. You used to be a good guy. Now you just run your fucking mouth. Like, just shut up and wrestle. And I'm like, that's cool. I like this. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Uh-oh. No certified hater. No certified hater. I just don't like Temu versions of the same thing that we already have on TV. It's that pinnacle thing of, I want to go to the arcade. You have Nintendo at home. You don't need the arcade. Did you have any thoughts on this backstage segment, Wesley? Sorry, I wanted to pop you with the false. In my notes, I have false prophets, and then I had to refer it to the Team of Street Profits. Wesley and the false prophets is in my notes. Now, to talk about a good segment, when we go ahead and talk about trying to make this ladder match work, Kelani Jordan talking about how she's so excited to be at the ladder match at Stand and Deliver because the last time she was in Las Vegas, she won a ladder match for the Women's North American Championship. She was the first champion on that. I'm like, that's cool. That's a nice segue. Then Roxanne's there, and I'm like, I'm confused. Why are you here? And she's like, I want to be the Triple Crown champion to hold all the ladies' titles. And I'm like,
it makes no sense.
But why? Like, why do you care? You're supposed to be going to the main roster.
I wonder they canceled her versus Bayley, and that's why they just try to put her in this tonight because they have nothing for her since the chamber.
But here's the funny thing. I thought the same thing until I watched Raw yesterday and heard Lyra Valkyria challenge Bayley to a match next week. When she laid out the challenge, I'm like, oh, they're going to put the Women's Intercontinental title on WrestleMania. That's why we're not doing Roxanne versus Bayley. Nope, we're not doing that either.
No.
So,
and I hate the fact that she was on a streak and then that she's just off TV, off of Raw and NXT. What's up with that? Tell me. I need answers.
We need to get our Shane Helms clip. What's up with that? You don't know who I'm talking about, do you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
What do you mean? Of
the
course.
Hurricane. Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure.
Who doesn't know Hurricane?
You'd be surprised.
I'm offended now.
There's a lot of people who don't know that he started a boy band on WCW. Sugar Shane Helms in 3 count. That's how far back I go with Shane Helms. I go all the way back to 3 count. Oh, that's in the bad idea gimmick book. We'll talk about that one another night. Okay, so our good friend, the Wrestling Classic, Justin, on Twitter put, such a great and creative way to break down who's in Dark State.
Oh, Justin.
Astrid and I vehemently disagree. So here's the thing. Had the pages that they were all looking at only had pictures and only Tony's had all the words, I would have agreed that was really cool and creative. However, especially with Rizzo, she's literally using her finger on the promo, and they accidentally cut to her a couple times where she's moving her finger across the line as she reads it off the paper.
I'll tell everybody a secret. You know what this looked like? A PowerPoint printout.
It was.
It
was a PowerPoint.
They probably did at 3 p.m. in this afternoon, most likely.
No. I think this was done at least last weekend. Here's the thing. I thought if Luca had done this whole promo, it would have been fine. Even if they had the words on it. Because Luca's section was top notch. Then they went to Rizzo and it kind of crumbled a little bit. And then they went to Stacks and it all fucking fell apart.
Yep.
But I made some notes about the guys from Dark State. So, Dion Lennox is a fake bookworm who's a real bookworm who went from bookworm to jock to bookworm. Osiris Griffin was an ACC football player. No, they don't mention which ACC school he went to, which makes you know it wasn't one of the good ones. Because for those that don't know college football, the ACC is a rather large football conference where a bunch of schools are part of it. And there are some really good ACC schools, and there are some bad ACC schools. He went to one of the ones that we don't talk about. Why? Because we didn't mention them. You know how I know that? Because they talk about Cutler James, and they talk about how he breaks guys' wills in spirit, and that he went to Duke. Why do we use the name Duke? Because everybody around the world, especially during March, knows about Duke. No, that's a lie. That is a bold-faced lie, good sir. There is also Florida State and Boston College. So there's more than one ACC school in football. We then get to Saquon Sugars, and this is a really interesting thing. He turned down Harvard, but we don't know why, which sounds like the most made-up true thing that's ever happened in professional wrestling.
I'm telling you, it's a PowerPoint printout. It doesn't help. It's like when I had somebody, and disclaimer for my shoot job, that for our safety meetings, what she would do, she would have a PowerPoint. And the rule for PowerPoint, if you really know about it, is that you don't put everything on the PowerPoint.
Oh God, no.
You put maybe 5 bullet points, and everything else you say it yourself. But no, she would read everything off the PowerPoint, which makes it boring and makes me sleepy when it's at 8 a.m. I barely have my coffee, and this is the first thing I do at work. So,
because he's a bad man, he doesn't have time for those high streets. No, like I got it. It just seemed like one of those things that you say, like because you don't have to be true. Like, it's wrestling. We can make up whatever we want about these guys. Why would we say he turned down Harvard and then not have a reason he did it? Like, it just seems
so
weird.
freaking lame. So lame.
I'm
looking at the school though because I got curious.
What? Which one? Osiris Griffin?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're so inappropriate.
But
somebody's inappropriate back there.
Huh?
I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Your sister in the background just went, "You're so inappropriate," and we both stopped talking.
I guess I wasn't paying attention.
It was so great.
One of them says New Orleans Saints, but I'm looking at the other one, Syracuse University.
Yeah, like I said, it's not a nothing school, but yeah, Syracuse. Syracuse in football means nothing. Syracuse in basketball means a lot.
There you go.
We get to Pretty Deadly giving Hank Tank wardrobe advice. This was something I did not need to see. I did not need to see Hank Tank and Pretty Deadly chops. That was not on my bingo card in the slightest. It was a fun segment and I enjoyed it, but I certainly didn't need to see that. That was a visual that I, especially when Hank starts rubbing his body, and thank God the Candy Crew came by and said that they were going to kick their ass. And I'm like, okay, good. At least they're going to lose again, so that's nice. No, Ophelia, they did not.
No.
I do not think. No. If you do this, if you do this, get in touch with me or Astrid. I will send you my address and I'll wear it on show. I'll promise. I'll wear it on the show. I'm not opposed to this. I'll do it.
Peggy, you better clip that.
I'll do it. If you're gonna here's the thing. You don't dare me to do something stupid and then think I'm not going to do it. Like, I know I still need to do the ice bucket challenge for the football thing on Sundays. Like, I get it. It's been a rough winter. But like, I'll do it. But like, if I get a super crop like that and I can manage to somehow get it on, and that's going to be a challenge. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Well, that's going to be a fun episode of Taking Over. That's going to be a fun episode of Taking Over.
No, you're wearing that on Marvel, not in this show, honey. No.
No, we're going to wear it right here on Taking Over.
No, that's a Marvel thing. No.
We have a promo from the Culling, which I liked. Again, every time they do a Culling promo, I like this.
This is what I was hoping from Dark State, like a promo like this.
Yeah.
Basically giving us like the NXT profile on each one of them. This is what they should have done.
Even if they had the Dark State guys tell us the info from the D'Angelo stuff, that would have been good too. Exactly. But this Culling promo was fantastic. All the people talking about all the things that Shawn Spears has done for them and how much the cult leader mentality. This is a great cult leader mentality, and I love it. Granted, it's going to all kind of fall apart later, but I love this promo. In this moment, I was very happy. Just sensational. Izzi's fit right in here. Niko can talk. Niko was great.
She's not the green lady anymore.
I know. They gave her other colors. Mostly black, but there's a little bit of white and pink in all the attire. It was great. Ever since she's been here, I think it's been great as she's part of the Culling. Yep. They figured something out with her. Good for them. We get ready for the Hank Tank versus the Candy Crew match, but we swipe right. My Evolve boys swipe right every Wednesday. Very excited for the Swipe Right boys to be on NXT. We'll talk more about them later. So we're finally figuring out who the leader of Dark State is next week during or after the 6-man. Probably. If we don't find out next week, we find out after. Oh, by the way, did you hear the little thing that Ava dropped? And we're going to do it now because I'll forget this point when I get there. Did you hear the part where Ava accidentally dropped that the main event of Stand and Deliver is the triple threat? My heart sank. Because I'm so happy for my boy Femi to be the main event of Stand and Deliver. And then I realized that means that the women aren't main eventing Stand and Deliver. And it made me sad.
Tell me something new.
I really thought we were going to get there. We were so close. It was so close. If only they would have done Eddie Thorpe versus Femi and Stand and Deliver like I wanted, then we would have had the women main eventing. But no, I think with that match being the main event, it's a very likely possibility that the leader of Dark State is revealed at Stand and Deliver. And I'm holding to my guns. I think it's Javon. I think it's a heel turn from Javon. And Javon is the leader of Dark State.
That'll be interesting, though.
I feel like it has to be a younger guy. Like, I feel like it can't be. I feel like it just can't be Trick. Because if it's Trick, that means he's staying, and that seems wrong for 1,000 reasons. But if it's Javon, it makes a lot more sense, and I think there's a lot more to dig into with that. That he really did learn from Trick, that he did learn from Carmelo, and he learned from other people that you gotta kind of have a group. And so he went and found guys like him who are overlooked and just pushed aside. Literally in Dion Lennox's case, where Oba literally pushed him aside.
And that's the part that I hate about the dark side thing, because I feel like for me, the way they could have done it is kind of similar to that Dion Lennox segment you're talking about. The fact that we saw him getting dismissed and getting shoved, like that gives me a reason why he's in the group. And I feel like, now I'm not saying it has to be the same thing, but I feel like we could have seen kind of similar things from the other guys. Like first introduce them to us on screen so we know who they are, and then have them get dismissed and overlooked somehow to the point that they're like, how about we get together and this is how we overcome this, by like fighting together. And I feel like in the end, when you do that kind of like NXT profile like they did with the Cullings, like, yeah, you get that reasoning behind it at the end of like, yeah, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me, and we all connected on this, and that's why we're all together. And I feel like it would have made more sense in the end. Because if you were to tell me right now that it was just Dion Lennox turning heel and he's the one that did this, I would understand because of what happened to him. You could do a whole video package on him and what happened to him versus where he is now, and I would understand it. But with the others, I don't.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. We then get to the only segment that I have copious notes on. It is the promo between Trick, Oba, and Javon Evans. Trick talks about what it took to create the Whoop That Trick era, how he lost a brother to due to it, and now the fans are turning on him, and how he's still the man around here no matter what happens. Javon comes out, and Trick says, "Look, young child, it's stand and deliver time. Let the grown men talk." And I was like, that was good. And then Javon coming back at him. "This time last year, you were me, Trick." Like, ooh, okay, we're gonna get into this. We're gonna really dig into this whole stand and deliver last year that me and Astrid both go, build, fantastic, match.
Yep.
Trick says that winning the title is one thing, holding it and carrying it is another. Javon comes back with, "You ain't Trick Williams, you're Carmelo Hayes." The one good thing about that line and the way they're doing Trick here is they've created a way to put Trick Mello back together on the main roster. I didn't think there was an easy way to do it, but they've done it. Because now it literally, all it has to be is Trick coming up to SmackDown, seeing Mello in the back and being like, "I get it. You were right." Oba at this point comes out. He says, "Tell it to my face, Javon," which made me think of Alex Riley. "Sing it to my face."
I love that song. I love that.
Such a good theme song. Such a good theme song for such an underrated asshole of a wrestler. Trick cuts in and Oba says, "You've had enough. We've heard from you enough, Trick. Talk to the hand." Oba calls Javon the future, the potential future of NXT. However, he's the now. Of course, this brings out Ava. Oba versus Trick versus Javon is made for stand and deliver. We now know it's the main event. And then Darkseid rushes the ring and attacks Oba, then Javon, and then they circle around Trick and then attack Trick. As STG says, I enjoyed this. This was great. This is a very good use of time. And again, they've done a very good job making this a long-term build for a really kind of short-term build. Because they're playing into so many little things that have happened along the way to make a booking that really probably only happened within the last 2 or 3 weeks feel like it's been booked for the last 3 months. And that takes skill. It's a good use of long-term booking. Taking all of the slights about Javon and his age and his inability to get the job done to the long build that we've had since Deadline between Oba and Trick, the back and forth with them. It's so much good stuff all piled into one. and you can make this match and make it feel like it means something and that all of these guys have earned it without any of them actually winning matches to earn this. Which is
My only
kind
hope
of weird.
is they don't add Eddie to this in any way, shape, or form. Please don't ruin it.
God, no.
Please
God.
don't.
Oh God, no. We're not seeing Eddie Thorpe again until after Saturday.
I know. That's just my hope. I really enjoy this though, and especially this is the part that I was more like watching it than anything. But the part that I took notes that I really killed me when I heard it is when Javon says, "Melo told you this a year ago. You're a hypocrite." I went, ah, that hurt me. But yeah, that's how I felt. I was like, "She's that hurt." But again, going back to the point that you mentioned is like when you see a promo like this and the way they talk to Javon versus the way they talk to each other is like, oh, like the kind of comments of like, oh, the grown-ups are talking and you're too young to be here. The way they're overlooking him, it makes you think more about the group. And then I think the irony is when the group does come out, you see Oba's in the middle of the ring, Javon's in the corner. So it's like you can kind of see like the leader could be like kind of leading the traffic there for a moment of like, go after him first. When he's down, go after me to cover your bases. And then Trick is in the middle later on. They go after Trick, but not for too long either, which is also interesting. But it just makes you think of like when WWE does kind of like those whodunit kind of thing, is usually the people that are like particularly involved that are the ones going like the ones behind the everything. So to me, when you look at the way they were standing there, thinking of Opa right in the middle, and then Javon in the corner makes me think of like, yeah, Javon's directing the traffic for the guys there, and that like basically within the group in that aspect of it. And then once Oba's down, because you want to take the big guy down first, then you take the other guy because he obviously you don't need a lot to take out Javon Evans the way you think about it that way because he's so tiny. So it makes me think of it that way. And then not only just thinking of like Trick is not even involved in this part at first until later on, but it just makes me think more about Javon Evans since, you know, from the angle that we get this too. But again, I like the way that Ava came out really right away, resolved it. And even just thinking about the fact that Trick really hit Javon first, is like took him out, and then he's like he's done, and then now he goes after Oba, and it's like this is the threat. But yeah, like you said, it's like I like the part of the way they're connecting it back to everything with Melo. It's very interesting to think about when you reflect back on a year ago and where he's at now. But again, it's like I feel like this was so interesting, and the way they delivered everything is really on point.
Yeah, as much as we're hurt by the fact that the women are not main eventing, this is a really good main event story, even though it hasn't really been told for a long time. There's a lot to this story that I think it makes it a good main event. And I think the match can deliver. I honestly do. With Javon Evans in there with Oba Femi and Trick Williams as well, I don't think this match under-delivers.
So it's going to stand and deliver?
I mean, it'll certainly stand and it might deliver. Lord knows the talent aren't happy about being a 9:30 a.m. show on the West Coast. So
I'm not happy about having it early day either.
I was gonna say, are you excited for a 12:30 start time over here on the East Coast?
I'd be like barely drinking my coffee as the show starting.
We get a segment with Hank, Tank, and Naxium. I don't really know what happened here. I wasn't listening very well. I was doing something else. I do know that at the end, Axiom says, I do kind of wish we had a friendship like they do. And Nathan gets all bent out of shape about it.
The only part that I didn't even understand it too. The only part that kind of like I got was that I don't know if Axiom was giving them advice. And then at the same time, Nathan's like, why would you get them advice when basically they could be our competition by being a tag team the way they are? And Axiom's being more like positive about it more than anything. We also had Andre Chase in medical. I don't know if you have it like after that.
Oh, I did not have any of that.
Yeah, he was he was asking about how long it takes for him to get in recovery for, I think it's for the ribs or something like that. And then that's when Kel and Uriah are taking him out on a wheelchair. And then that's when Jordan comes out with Jada and medical there, and they keep fighting from before.
Oh, I didn't even see that either. The only part of this that matters is that Swipe Right come up and introduce themselves. Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes. Ricky Smokes again, I will say. Former Chaotic World Champion Ricky Smokes. Going ahead and getting their NXT shine here. They talk to Nathan Frazier and Axiom. And they're like, you guys are our Hardys. You are the guys that we watched growing up that made us kind of want to be this, and we want to measure ourselves against you. Okay, they're literally blowing smoke up their ass, but it's fine because they're slimy heels who just want to get their way, and they want to match with one of the best tag teams in tag team wrestling right now, and they do because Nathan Frazier, being Nathan Frazier, just accepts the challenge with no thought to what's going on. So maybe we get Swipe Right versus Nathan Frazier at Axiom next week. Like, they'll lose, but if they're the first ID talent to have an actual match on WWE programming, that's a big deal. Because, like, Evolve is one thing. It is what it is. Like, I love Evolve, and I think it's been doing well. But, like, to be put onto NXT not once but twice, not only just to be seen in the crowd, but to have a promo and be potentially having a match, that's a bigger deal.
Mm-hmm.
In the match of the night, Kelani Jordan defeats Roxanne Perez clean. I was a bit surprised.
Yes.
I don't. I understand, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great match. Like, it's a great match.
Let me see if I can put into words for you. While I was watching this, I was on a call and I said, my girl's going to lose. And then it happened a few minutes later. And you know how I can notice? Because I was like, this girl's on her way out. They're not going to put her in a qualifier to be on a championship match for a stand and deliver. But they also don't have anything on the main roster for her. Kelani's staying. Kelani's winning. That's all I can think about. But either way, they had such a great chemistry. I feel like either way, if this is one of Roxanne's like last few matches in NXT, she really helped like show out Kelani tonight. And I feel like they're really great together. And just at the same time, it didn't make sense to me, like I mentioned earlier. I feel like everything with Roxanne and Bayley could have led to a match at either Stand and Deliver or WrestleMania. And the fact that so far there's no sign of it happening, it's just disappointing like in any way, shape, or form. Just thinking of how do you go from being in the Rumble, being in the Chamber to poof, nothing. And that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what's happening. I'm disappointed.
I think there's one last shot for this. They're doing Lyra versus Bayley next week on Raw. If Roxanne interferes and costs Bayley the match, that could be the last, because you don't need to tell a story with that match. You just need to make the match happen. There needs to be a catalyst. It could be as easy as Roxanne just costs Bayley the Intercontinental Championship. I don't like it. I don't think it's a good idea, but there's one last shot and that's it.
I know.
Roxanne
but again,
costs Bayley.
It's still disappointing thinking of how do you go from like that momentum. Like even with her losing, she still had great performances. Like having that momentum from the Rumble, having a great performance at the Chamber, and then just nothing happening whatsoever in either show. So that's the part that I wasn't a fan of. So that's why I also had the feeling from the get-go that Kelani was going to win this. But this is one of those matches that I just enjoyed it. I didn't even take notes on it or anything. And they did really great together. I feel like in the end, it's probably in that mindset of like, I'm not going to be here for long. So I want to shine these girls on my way out. But would it have been fun to have her in the ladder match? Yeah, because it would have been cool if she won the title and have her win that title. But again, I know that's not going to happen. So that's the only thing that it's not fun at the same time. But I feel like they had a great match. I feel like I saw more signs of that the old prodigy with a little bow at the end when she does that, because I missed that kind of thing from her. But again, they did great tonight. I feel like that was my favorite match of the night.
I had this thought as we were talking, and I've I lost it. Oh well.
Go find it.
I had something. I don't know. I lost it. Oh, it's with Roxanne and her booking. I feel like it's almost like we know that Triple H wants to do big things with her, but Triple H can't book a women's division anymore to save his life. Seemingly, he can't book women's wrestling anymore. The man who booked Sasha versus Bayley, the man who booked the Four Horsewomen, the man who booked Asuka, all of a sudden, no idea how to book women. Like, not in general. Like, he can't not book women, but like the Charlotte versus Tiffany stuff is awful. Tiffany can no longer be a babyface. They need to flip her heel again. That's the thing I realized. The reason why she's failing on these promos is because she's doing them as a babyface. All of her good work has been done as a heel. She needs to go back.
And you can tell they're heavily scripted because the way she responded to Charlotte interrupted her and she went back to like, you put out a water on a fire or whatever it was line. And I'm like, how would you repeat that again? You just said it.
Yeah, you throw cold wire on anything hot.
Yeah, I just...
Triple H can't... So what happened is Triple H went to Shawn and he goes, after the Rumble, I'm taking Roxanne for a while. So Shawn goes, cool. Not going to book her very much. I'll do here and there, but we'll just basically give her to you from here on out. And now all of a sudden, neither of them are doing anything with her because it's WrestleMania time. And God forbid we have more than 2 women's matches on WrestleMania. It's shocking. We might not get Naomi versus Jade at WrestleMania. The fact that that's not a confirmed Mania match yet, 18 days out, is a fucking crime. Because whatever I think of Jade Cargill as a professional wrestler, and that is in a completely different discussion. And whatever I think of Naomi every time she cries is a completely different discussion. This is the best told women's story in all of WWE on the main roster right now. It's way better than the clusterfuck that is the Raw Women's Championship stuff. Because that went from this could be really cool to what the fuck is going on in a matter of 2 weeks. The Tiffany and Charlotte stuff is awful. Chelsea Green is doing incredible work solely at the behest of Chelsea Green and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And Lyra's doing stuff. She's having matches with people, but
for no reason.
Yes, for no reason. And it's like, it's a fucking shame. Because Shawn's doing great work with the women's division in NXT.
Mm-hmm. You have no idea how much I hated thinking about the fact that, think about it this way. Bianca versus Sasha is the last women's main event we've had. And that was what, 4 or 5 years ago at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This year, not even none of the Rumble winners have main events. First time ever.
Neither Rumble winner. Well, the first time... It's the first time since they said that the Rumble winner gets a title shot.
Exactly. First time for both, not just the women, both. And I get that stuff happened. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that CM Punk is main eventing for the first time. I love it. I really do. But at the same time, you have 2 nights, and you can't have one of the Rumble winners main event one night, the other Rumble, and the other winner do the night 2.
See, here's the thing. This is the problem with... I think the 2 matches that are main eventing WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 are the right choice to main event WrestleMania. They are your 2 best stories with 5 of your biggest talents that are spanning across everything. There is nothing wrong with the choices of your main events. It is an indictment on the rest of your storytelling that neither of your Rumble winners are in a storyline strong enough to even compete for a main event slot. And I remember saying when Jey Uso won the Rumble that I didn't think he was main eventing one night of WrestleMania. I thought Charlotte might.
I thought Charlotte might too. But...
If they did Charlotte versus Rhea like they should have done for WrestleMania.
Over here. Right on target.
Yep. I agree. And that's what I said on Sunday. I said this exact same thing on Sunday. The first thing WWE needs to do from now on is to say that the Royal Rumble winner, yes, gets a title match at Mania.
Yeah, that's it.
No main event, nothing. Just say that, because, like Ophelia says, like I said, like Astrid said, these are the perfect matches to main event WrestleMania. Roman versus Seth versus Punk is a main event match. It should never be anything other than a main event match. That is a main event at any show, anytime, even at WrestleMania. Heel John Cena is a WrestleMania main event. It doesn't matter who he's fighting. He could be fighting fucking Alex Riley, which, by the way, Alex Riley would have loved.
Poor Alex
and he
Riley.
still would have been, and he still would have been, should have been the main event.
Yeah.
Because it's heel John Cena coming back.
Yeah.
But him versus Cody, that's main event level. Those are main event level matches.
But
nothing else being told is main event level.
And on the other hand, I also hate the fact that when Triple H, for example, goes to a press conference and he says, oh, the woman will probably basically get a main event when the storyline warrants a main event. I'm like, but you're the one that writes it, so how about you warrant it to be a main event to begin with? Like, you're making it seem like it's somebody else's responsibility to make it a main event when it's not. And this is why I'm glad people like Charlotte and Rhea went over their time for the Mania match and went like, you didn't give us a main event, but we're gonna show you what we should have main evented to begin with. And that's how you do it, and that's how you respond to it. But yeah,
Mike Drive is also right down here. Wait till Mania is the 4-night spectacular. They'll have many main events to fill.
Okay.
And like I said on Sunday, Roman versus Seth versus Punk is main event small m, small e. It is a main event, but it's all lowercase. John Cena is main event big M, big E.
That sounds funny. If I just...
Well, because the
I know,
night
it's
one
just the
main
word
event
sounds,
isn't.
sounds...
Yeah, I agree. I know.
I disagree
But-
with you, but it sounds funny when you say it. I'm just letting you know.
No. If
No,
if
we're
you
not
have a
gonna get into
2-night
this right now. We gotta go
Okay.
to bed soon. Come on.
one of us needs to go to bed soon. One of us can
I
stay
have
up all
to-
night if we need to. Stevie, Ava, Stone talk about Swipe Right. They talk about Stand and Deliver, all the great matches. We find out that next week, Dark State is taking on Oba, Trick, and Javon.
So one of them is saying that,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
Yes, and Dark State gets to pick which 3 wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
How much you want to bet the one that doesn't wrestle is Dion Lennox?
I was about to say that too.
Reader Man is not wrestling in that match. Reader Man, I don't think Reader Man is wrestling in that match.
No.
We get a Ricky Saints promo with Sarah Schreiber. Ricky Saints that the Revolution will be televised, and I'll say this after he got the promo, I'm like, Ricky, that's a really great promo for a guy who's about to go out there and lose because of a screwy finish. I literally said that to myself out loud after I saw that promo. I literally said, I'm like, that's a great promo for a guy who's about to lose. Because I didn't think there'd be any way in hell he'd win. Not tonight. I thought he'd win at Stand and Deliver.
Yep.
When they did the title change on a big stage. And then we get to the main event. I thought this was good. I thought this was well booked. I thought Ricky Saints and Shawn Spears had great chemistry. I thought that all members of the Culling had perfect involvement in this match, between Niko getting up on the apron, to Izzi throwing in the title, to the way that Ricky Saints took out the 2 members, the male members of of the Culling, by bringing Brooks in, by going ahead and attacking Niko to put him on the outside, to go ahead and then go back to Brooks to knock him over the top rope, to get him outside for a reason, to be able to level Niko, to go back in the ring, avoid Shawn Spears, hit the Rochambeau, get the 1, 2, 3, and our new NXT North American champion, Ricky Saints. We're going to leave the post-match for a minute because I do have something to say about the post-match. But Astrid, what were your thoughts on our new North American champion, Ricky Saints?
I mean, I get what you mean. Not about the promo part, but just thinking of, I was not expecting him to win tonight. Just thinking they're going to make it that screwy finish to give us that rematch at Stand and Deliver. That was my whole mindset. So I automatically, in my mind, Ricky's losing tonight somehow. And I was in the call, like I mentioned, is like, and I keep going back and I'm like looking back and forth, doing my notes. And then I'm like, did I just see him winning? I was like,
Yep.
What? It was very surprising. And I feel like it's something that it reminded me a lot of like Ethan winning the title just like right away as soon as he started as well. And it just shocked me in such a way. And it's like I like also the aspect of like all the AW guys going one after the other one in a row too. They just made me laugh too. Made me think of that meme, the Spider-Man.
It's
meme.
a funny Spider-Man meme thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, even just thinking of Ethan not even giving him that moment to shine and ruining that moment for him as well. And I was like, are we gonna get a 3-way here for Stand and Deliver? Is that what's going on? But either way, whether it's just 1-on-1 or the 3-way, I don't mind either way. I'm glad to see them all getting involved and doing something. So I'm very happy that they're being used. So that's just more than anything my feeling with all three guys. But again, I feel like Ricky looked great. He has the crowd on the palm of his hands already, and that's just amazing to watch.
Speaking of the end of the show, this is how the NXT faithful decided to end the show.
And Paige just stole the spotlight from Ricky Saints.
I have thoughts. I have thoughts and opinions about this. And they're not what people think they're going to be. All right, fan, it is very funny. However, Tony fumbled is not what happened here. People have left wrestling promotions and had great careers in other places so many times. If that's the same thing, WWE fumbled Swerve Strickland. WWE fumbled all kinds of guys throughout the years. The NXT crowd doing this, while I love and appreciate their ambition in this, they're completely wrong. This isn't a Tony fumbled situation. Whether Tony did or didn't doesn't fucking matter. Because Ricky Starks is having a great time working in a new place, and he's now a champion. Ethan Page left a place where he didn't feel valued, came to WWE, won a championship, has been telling a story he seems to be thoroughly enjoying and having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Both companies can succeed. While if you choose to watch or not watch a program, that's fine. Rooting for a promotion to fail is the stupidest form of tribalism that can ever fucking exist. I hate it. I despise it. I'm so upset that it happened on my show. And I call it my show because it's NXT. It is my favorite show of the week. And hearing my crowd chanting this is fucking asinine. Do you know the thing that made me laugh the most about an AEW and WWE thing in the entirety of the back and forth between all of it? It was the backstage segment where this is not the AEW that I look for on this show. The funniest thing that happened between a WWE AEW reference that I think has ever happened was something where nothing was said. And it was this week on Raw. When Drew McIntyre is, it was on SmackDown. When Drew McIntyre is lying on the windshield of a car, clutching his face, and CM Punk walks by, looks, nods to the camera, and keeps walking.
What happened in London, ironically.
Yeah. And it happened in London. Like, it is the perfect storm of just funny. Because if you know, you know, but nobody had to tell you. This is the bad form of it. Because this is the crowd having to tell you what's going on. The voice of reason here is fucking MJF. When the voice of reason in wrestling is Maxwell Jacob Friedman, we've got a fucking problem.
Hell no.
It isn't about which, like, I saw a post from one of our wonderful contributors who's responding to a post of somebody saying that AEW lost a shit ton of money. It doesn't matter. Like what you like. If you like WWE, like WWE. If you like AEW, like AEW. If you're like me and you don't want to like AEW, I don't watch AEW. But you know what? I still want them to succeed. Because if they fail, it's going to be back to WCW failing again. And that was bad. That was really bad.
I also think about this, though, which is something I don't think I will ever understand. I'm a fan of the show. I'm here to support the talent more than anything because as much as I love WWE, I follow the talent more than anybody. But why me as a fan? Why do I care about ratings and ticket sales and arenas getting filled up? Like, that's none of my business. Why does it matter? Whether I don't care what company. I don't understand why people care about that stuff. I really don't. It's like, oh, they sold so many tickets. Oh, the show is sold out. Oh, look, AEW has the site taped up. I don't freaking care. Just watch the show and enjoy it. Who cares about like how many people are in a building? Like, what does that matter to you? I'm like, you're not in the company. The company's the one that should be worried about that stuff, if they worry about it. And that's a big if. But it's like, that's something that the company should be caring about, not us as fans. And even the ratings was like, oh, so and so many people were watching on Max. I don't freaking care. I really don't. I was like, I'm just here to enjoy the show. I don't care about what numbers it did the next day or not. Don't freaking care about it. I'm just here to enjoy the wrestling and the storytelling. Who cares how many people are watching it? I really don't, because I only care about me watching it. I don't care about the other ones.
I'll be honest, I like numbers, so I love getting into all the petty numbers bullshit. But
I
that's
get
just
looking at, no, I understand reading it because for some people it's interesting, but to have the discussion of like that back and forth of like this company's doing better because they have better ratings or whatever. I don't freaking care. I really don't. That kind of discussion is the one that I just it's so like stupid.
And I think part of this goes back to the Monday Night Wars. And for those that didn't watch during the Monday Night Wars, I think it's a different discussion, because for a lot of us that I know, at least for me, watching during the Monday Night Wars, the WWE versus WCW in the ratings battle mattered because they were one most important thing. They were at the same time. They were shows that were airing at the same time. Mm-hmm. So it kind of mattered what the numbers were. Yep. But it also told you what people wanted and what people were interested in and what people... Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of mattered to an extent. It doesn't matter anymore because media is consumed in such a different way than it was all the way back then. I think it really doesn't matter. And I agree with Mike the Ref here. The more people become fans of a specific product, the more protected they become of it. It's a North American us versus them, not both mentality. I agree. I want everybody to love all of wrestling. Just because I don't personally choose to enjoy AEW doesn't mean AEW's bad and needs to go away. No, AEW needs to succeed because, one, I want people that I'm watching on the indie scene to have a cool place to go work. I want people that WWE don't think are talented enough or don't have room for to have a cool place to work. And if they can go work in AEW, good for them. Get that bag, make that money. Swerve Strickland, make that money.
Get that bag.
John Moxley, make that money. No, I understand everybody has a democratic right to be wronged by me. But like I said, just because I don't like something doesn't mean that it's bad. It means I don't like it. I think it's bad. But I get the tribalism thing is stupid because I don't root against AEW. It's the exact opposite. I root for AEW. I want more success for AEW. I want Tony to get his head out of his butt sometimes and book proper Ring of Honor shows. Why? Because I like watching Ring of Honor every now and then. And if it's 16 matches and 15 of them are squash matches, I don't give a shit.
I also think about this aspect too. For me, let's say with the Tony fumbled aspect of it, I try not to get involved in conversations like that because I feel like it could happen in both companies. I could be in one company and say, oh, look at, for example, one of my favorites, Deonna. I hated the fact that she signed with AEW because look at the women's division AEW. I don't like that fact. But also, it's her personal life. She gets to choose wherever she wants to sign. So there's nothing I can tell her that can influence her what to do. So we support her in any way that we can in that aspect of it was what she's going through, whatever she's going through. But I wouldn't be one of those people chanting like Tony fumbled because, like you said, we can flip the coin and say the same thing from WWE about other people. And I think about this aspect too. There's only so much screen time on a weekly basis for you to rotate people around. So there's only so much you can do with the people that you have on screen right now. So there's people that are going to be in the back burner for a while, and there's some people that might get injured, and that's what makes people kind of rotate in a way. So Tony could have done better with people like Ethan and Ricky, yeah, but at the same time, that could happen to them here in NXT, and this is just a start. You never know. So it's you can't talk about something when it's just happening at the moment. You never know if maybe in 5 years we'll look at it and say Ricky could have done better in NXT, which I hope I don't have to say, but you never know what's going to happen on the other side of it. So I would just be be quiet, enjoy the journey that he's on right now, that he's having fun and he's happy where he's at, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I use Swerve, but Adam Cole is another case of WWE fumbled. They fumbled the ball and they let Adam Cole go, and he's a big star over there. I see Mike brings up Malachi and Cope. I don't Cope is definitely a different scenario. I don't think you can look at Cope as being a fumble. I think Cope was like, I'm at the end of my career. I'm choosing where I go. I don't think it mattered. Triple H could have given Adam Copeland everything he wanted. I don't think he might have stayed. Malachi Black, on the other hand, they both fucking fumbled Malachi Black. He was in WWE so bad and was so bad, he left to go to AEW. And apparently he'll be back in 2 weeks on SmackDown. Like, he got fumbled by both sides. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. The people in this crowd should be embarrassed of themselves for chanting this. And I'm sad that it was on my show. Because it doesn't fucking matter. It just doesn't.
I was gonna say, the only thing that the only thing I can speak so much about is because I was part of the NXT crowd, but I wouldn't have chanted Tony fumbled though.
Yes, but this is not the Full Sail crowd. Also, you got to.
I know, but it's not all of them, but it's a lot of the same people too. So.
And Goodfellow's not wrong. Adam Cole getting pay-per-view matches, but still, it's still just the thing of it all. Like, both sides fumble talent all the time. It's not something we need to call out. Just because we have 3 AEW guys at the end of the show in a main event segment on NXT with a championship involved doesn't mean somebody fucked up. It just means NXT is taking an opportunity of 3 really talented people to go ahead and work. Like I said, Ashley, see, positive rant for once. Positive rant. Astrid, where can the good people find you this week?
Trying to think, but I don't know. We'll leave it at that. Just in case. I mean, you can find me again on Tuesdays here doing Taking Over with you. I'm not mentioning anything else just a moment, just in case something else happens. But you can find me on. Hold on, I don't want to get the name wrong. We just did a review of Queen of the Ring with what am I forgetting the name? Pario Magazine with Jamie over there too. So if you go to their socials on their YouTube channel, we talked about Queen of the Ring that I just watched at the beginning of technically last month because it's April 1st. So I know it's gonna be coming out in Canada pretty soon. So Peggy, watch out for that because it's coming your way now. So yeah, if you're able to support the movie, definitely do. I know it has a very limited release. Hopefully they'll do a better digital release for it. So if you're able to have access to it to watch it, please do. I feel like it's worth the time. It was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I talk about it with them over there. So it was really fun to be able to discuss about that in women's wrestling as well. But yeah, other than that, see, April 18th. So you see, it's going to Canada soon. I don't think it's on streaming yet, but I'm hoping after the Canada release, hopefully. I'm hoping.
I think it's going to Netflix. From what I understand, it's a Netflix movie, so I think it's going to Netflix.
I will definitely watch out. Probably, I would say, since they're doing April 18th in Canada, I would say hopefully sometime in May or June they'll have it in some streaming service at least. But yeah, if you're able to watch it, please watch it. A lot of talent from both companies are in the movie as well, so I think it will be a great way to support the women just all together. For me, also, you can find me on my Twitter, Blue Sky as Astrid Pizarro, and my Instagram and Threads as Pizarro20. And if anything, if you're on my YouTube channel, please subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I upload, and hit that like button on the video as well. It'll be very appreciated. I know on our side of OLE, we're talking about it here as we can, but if you're able to watch, even on the background as background noise, a lot of our old videos as well to help us with our watch hours is the only thing we have missing to get our channel monetized. So you can help us out by keeping us in the background, putting a playlist of one of your favorite shows on here in OLE. Doesn't matter which one. We don't have a preference as long as you watch our content somehow.
I have a preference. But that's fine.
Of course I of course you do.
Of course I do. I should. Millie, thank you for joining us. I know you're lurking. Thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you're having an amazing time over at Allison K's stream. I'm going to assume that she's live, and that's why you're lurking tonight. Things I've got coming up. Today I did a recording for a WrestleMania 12 retro review with a couple of the guys from Wallop Media after winning their Royal Rumble pool. Apparently I predicted more things right in the Royal Rumble than anybody else. I don't know how the hell that happened, but I did. So I got to choose a show, and I chose WrestleMania 12. So that will be coming out. We think it'll be the Monday of WrestleMania week. Again, I'll make sure that I post it when it comes out. It was a very fun review with the guys. I had a good time. Once that comes out, we might be seeing a couple of those guys popping up on different places here after I get the advice from my colleagues about whether or not they think that they're good people to bring on. Because I had a bunch of fun, but it doesn't mean everybody's going to have a bunch of fun. You can also make sure that you can go check them out at Wallop Media. Rylan was fantastic. SES Vince was fantastic. You can follow both of them on their own social medias via that. You can find them all over that place. They do all kinds of different content. Both of them do wrestling content. Both of them do other types of content. So it's great to see and have a good time with them. You can find me here tomorrow night again with Andre C on the Our Local Establishment channels, where we're going to be talking Marvel Talk, episode 7 of Daredevil Born Again. Thank you again, Peggy, for filling in for me last week. I greatly appreciate it. I saw the 2 episodes last week. I have my thoughts. I will give them tomorrow at the beginning of the show. And I'm very excited to see the one that aired tonight. I'll probably be watching that tomorrow while I go ahead and work. Yes, Brett versus HBK Iron Man match is the main event of that show. I agree. Peggy should be a regular.
We're working on it. Wink, wink.
I would not disagree to having Peggy join us more often on all shows, including Marvel Talk, if she wanted to. As she knows, the door is open anytime. All she needs to do is message me or Andre and go, "Can I have the link?" And she's there. So I'm very excited for that. You can also catch me, as long as I'm feeling okay after Marvel Talk, on my own channel. I am going to go ahead and do another Evolve review. I may or may not have Bobby Munson on the show if he's available. I missed last week, so I have to watch last week's Evolve. I have to watch this week's Evolve. That airs tomorrow night. I've been loving Evolve. I've been loving what's going on. I do, however, know that 2 of the matches announced are I don't know. I do know that the one match I'm dying to see is the women's match, which is Wendy Chu versus Kylie Ray. So I'm very excited for that. Evolve has been fun. I really do love what Evolve is doing.
I thought Zeta had a match too. No? Am I crazy?
I think she does, but that wasn't one of the ones that they had in the ad today. In the ad today, they did 2 matches, and that wasn't one of them. I know Joe Coffey's going up against one of the big dudes from Evolve. I say one of the big dudes. There's like 4 of them. There's a lot of big dudes. I'm going to watch it after you're done. Astrid is my priority. Astrid is everybody's priority. And that's okay. That's why she's the queen of our local establishment. But you can find me on Twitter and Blue Skies. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Skies at EdFries12584. I don't know what the hell I'm doing on Blue Sky, so I'm barely there. But you can find me pretty active on Twitter with retweeting stuff. Twitch.tv/EdFries2002 for the Evolve show. I know that some people accidentally missed it because they didn't know that it's on my own channel. That is not an Our Local Establishment thing. It has the Our Local Establishment video package only because I still haven't created a video for it yet. So eventually I'll get there. But yes, she is Hollywood Astrid for a reason. Yes, I was very excited to see Swipe Right on NXT tonight, as Ricky Starks is a hometown hero over here from Saugus, Massachusetts. So I was very excited to see him tonight. But make sure you catch Our Local Establishment everywhere you can. And since we haven't promoted it in a while, I'm going to go ahead and do this again. And Astrid's probably not going to be happy with me. If you want to support Astrid, go ahead and go to this QR code and buy this wonderful link where you can see this wonderful shirt that both Mel and Mike the Ref here are modeling for us. And if you want to know what the shirt looks like, the design is right there in the middle. It's for your wear. They are a fantastic company. You can support Astrid so she can make a little bit of money on all the fun stuff she's doing. It's Mania Week. It's getting close to Mania Week. If you want to go ahead and support Astrid a little bit more financially, if you're buying anything on WWE Shop for your WrestleMania experience, or after WrestleMania when we have that John Cena 17th championship shirt that's going to be out there when he defeats that crybaby Cody Rhodes, you can go ahead and use this QR code to buy it from WWEshop.com. You pay the same great prices. You go ahead and give the same great deals, but a little bit gets kicked back to Astrid Bizarro. I haven't done that in a while, Astrid. I still got it.
I feel a twitch coming from just hearing that again.
Anyways, thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
I am in misery.
Everyone is watching me when I'm coming